Hello friends, welcome to our story podcast. Let's begin the story Pappachi's Moth by Arundhati Roy. Mammachi had started making pickles commercially soon after Pappachi retired from government service in Delhi and came to live in Imanim. The Kottayam Bible Society was having a fair and asked Mammachi to make some of her famous banana jam and tender mango pickle. It sold quickly, and Mammachi found that she had more orders than she could cope with. Thrilled with her success, she decided to persist with the pickles and jam, and soon found herself busy all year round. Pappachi, for his part, was having trouble coping with the ignominy of retirement. He was 17 years older than Mammachi and realized with a shock that he was an old man when his wife was still in her prime. Though Mammachi had conical corneas and was already practically blind, Pappachi would not help her with the pickle making, because he did not consider pickle making a suitable job for a high-ranking ex-government official. He had always been a jealous man, so he greatly resented the attention his wife was suddenly getting. He slouched around the compound in his immaculately tailored suits, weaving sullen circles around mounds of red chilies and freshly powdered yellow turmeric, watching Mammachi supervise the buying, the weighing, the salting and drying of limes and tender mangoes. Every night he beat her with a brass flour vise. The beatings weren't new. What was new was only the frequency with which they took place. One night Pappachi broke the bow of Mammachi's violin and threw it in the river. Then Chakko came home for a summer vacation from Oxford. He had grown to be a big man and was, in those days, strong from roving for Balliol. A week after he arrived, he found Pappachi beating Mammachi in the study. Chakko strode into the room, caught Pappachi's vase hand and twisted it around his back. "I never want this to happen again," he told his father. "Ever." For the rest of that day, Pappachi sat in the veranda and stared stonily out at the ornamental garden, ignoring the plates of food that Kochu Maria brought him. Late at night, he went into his study and brought out his favorite mahogany rocking chair. He put it down in the middle of the driveway and smashed it into little bits with a plumber's monkey wrench. He left it there in the moonlight, a heap of varnished wicker and splintered wood. He never touched Mammachi again. But he never spoke to her either as long as he lived. When he needed anything, he used Kochu Maria or baby Kochamma as intermediaries. In the evenings, when he knew visitors were expected, he would sit on the veranda and sew buttons that weren't missing onto his shirts to create the impression that Mammachi neglected him. To some small degree, he did succeed in further corroding Imanim's view of working wives. He bought the sky blue Plymouth from an old Englishman in Munnar. He became a familiar sight in Imanim, coasting importantly down the narrow road in his wide car, looking outwardly elegant but sweating freely inside his woolen suits. He wouldn't allow Mammachi or anyone else in the family to use it, or even to sit in it. The Plymouth was Pappachi's revenge. Pappachi had been an Imperial Entomologist at the Pusa Institute. After independence, when the British left, his designation was changed from Imperial Entomologist to Joint Director, Entomology. The year he retired, he had risen to a rank equivalent to Director. His life's greatest setback was not having had the moth that he had discovered named after him. It fell into his drink one evening while he was sitting in the veranda of a rest house after a long day in the field. As he picked it out, he noticed its unusually dense dorsal tufts. He took a closer look. With growing excitement, he mounted it, measured it, and the next morning placed it in the sun for a few hours for the alcohol to evaporate. Then he caught the first train back to Delhi, to taxonomic attention and, he hoped, fame. After 6 unbearable months of anxiety, to Pappachi's intense disappointment, he was told that his moth had finally been identified as a slightly unusual race of a well-known species that belonged to the tropical family Lymantridae. The real blow came 12 years later, when, as a consequence of a radical taxonomic reshuffle, lepidopterists decided that Pappachi's moth was in fact a separate species and genus hitherto unknown to science. By then, of course, Pappachi had retired and moved to Imanim. It was too late for him to assert his claim to the discovery. His moth was named after the acting director of the Department of Entomology, a junior officer whom Pappachi had always disliked. In the years to come, Even though he had been ill-humored long before he discovered the moth, Pappachi's moth was held responsible for his black moods and sudden bouts of temper. Its pernicious ghost, grey, furry and with unusually dense dorsal tufts, haunted every house that he ever lived in. It tormented him and his children and his children's children. Until the day he died, even in the stifling Imanim heat, every single day, Pappachi wore a well-pressed three-piece suit and his gold pocket watch. On his dressing table, next to his cologne and silver hairbrush, he kept a picture of himself as a young man, with his hair slicked down, taken in a photographer's studio in Vienna where he had done the 6-month diploma course that had qualified him to apply for the post of Imperial Entomologist. It was during those few months they spent in Vienna that Mammachi took her first lessons on the violin. The lessons were abruptly discontinued when Mammachi's teacher, Lonskiti Fenthal, made the mistake of telling Pappachi that his wife was exceptionally talented and, in his opinion, potentially concert class. Mammachi pasted, in the family photograph album, the clipping from the Indian Express that reported Pappachi's death. It said, "Noted entomologist Shri Benaan John Ipe, son of late Rev. Doughty. John Ipe of Imanim, popularly known as Punya Kunju, suffered a massive heart attack and passed away at the Kottayam General Hospital last night. He developed chest pains around 1:05 a.m. and was rushed to hospital. The end came at 2:45 a.m. Shri Ipe had been keeping indifferent health since last 6 months. He is survived by his wife Soshamma and 2 children. At Pappachi's funeral, Mammachi cried and her contact lenses slid around in her eyes. Ammu told the twins that Mammachi was crying more because she was used to him than because she loved him. She was used to having him slouching around the pickle factory and was used to being beaten from time to time. Ammu said that human beings were creatures of habit, and it was amazing the kind of things they could get used to. You only had to look around you, Ammu said, to see that beatings with brass vases were the least of them. See you in the next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.